Good evening, everyone, brothers and sisters. I hope you are getting my voice loud and clear. Thank you very much. Um, we are dealing with the
Good
redemption of family,
evening once again.
and today, I want to okay. Today, I want to answer some 2, 3 questions which people sent yesterday before we continue with today's presentation. The first question is how do you handle a situation where a spouse is narcissistic and abuses children, or the narcissistic disorder is projected on the children and not necessarily on the other spouse? When a spouse, even those who are not narcissistic, although most of the violence that is in their family is almost 100% caused by narcissistic attitudes or disorder. I told you that when somebody is violent, there is a hidden thing, there's an unresolved conflict that is projecting. A person who is stable is never violent at all. And if he loses anger, it means you have offended him or her very much, because he'll try as much as possible to resolve the situation peacefully. But a person who is just like this and he's angry and he's ranting, he is doing this and that, definitely he has got some narcissistic disorders. And so when a person is projecting or is abusing children physically, you can be sure, and you can take this to the bank, he has a problem with the spouse. When you love your wife and when you love your husband and respect him, the benefits of this relationship will go to the children automatically. Because you know that if you abuse your children, your spouse will be offended. And if you love her, you will not do anything that will offend her. So when you notice that a spouse is meting out violence on children, you can be sure that that spouse has a problem with you. He is not able to fix it with you. He has a problem with you. And so you should research to know what is the problem between you and your spouse. And if you fix that problem, the violence upon children will disappear. Another question was, of course, if you are still fixing, because you don't just fix today and it goes, it's a process, you may need to come up with an excuse why that child will have to stay with her uncles for some time. You may need to come up with an excuse. You have to separate this person so that you remain with him alone or her alone, that he may deal with you or we may deal with each other. But if you have fixed it, you'll find that he also loves the children. So another question was, when you discover that your spouse is narcissistic, what do you do? How do you help him or her? And when you are struggling to help him or her, what do you do yourself? Now, people say that when somebody is evidencing total narcissistic disorder, it may be possible that this person is not converted. And if the person is not converted, a narcissistic disorder is a disorder that the devil takes advantage of every time. While it is possible for somebody to evidence narcissistic disorders up to a certain level if he is converted, but extreme narcissistic or narcissism comes from a person who is not converted. And so if a person is not converted, you can be sure that the devil will possess that person. So a split soul and later on a deceased soul, a split soul is a soul the devil is fighting to possess. And after the devil has possessed that soul, he is indwelling in the spirit of that person. It becomes a deceased soul. And a deceased soul is a soul that can anytime evidence extreme psychosis or what we call madness. And so what I'm saying is, if somebody is extremely narcissistic, he is demon possessed, or the devil is controlling him through what we call suggestion. The devil can speak from outside your mind and you obey it. And when the devil is speaking from outside your mind, he is taking advantage of your emotion. It is that deeply seated, deeply ingrained conflict that is driving you, and it drives you through emotion. And when you are feeling, you think that is right. When you are feeling angry, you think you are right. When you are feeling hatred, you think you are right. And you even excuse yourself why you must express hatred. And so the devil can either make suggestions from outside, and it doesn't take long before he enters into you. That's why conversion is very important. Now, when you notice that this narcissistic disorder is a serious one, this is a spiritual war, and you have to fight it spiritually through prayers, through fasting. And demons, what they'll do, if they notice that you are a prayer warrior, they'll be remaining calm when he's in your presence because they don't want prayers, and they possess him when he's leaving the house. And when you notice that he is into that condition again, please rush to the bedroom and pray before you come and handle the situation. Be a serious prayer warrior. In fact, fervent prayers may even make the angels of God to move close to him and impress upon his heart the need for conversion. You must be a prayer warrior. You should also know that he's sick, and therefore don't react the way he's reacting. Ask God to give you the fruit of temperance, self-control, so that you don't react when he reacts. This is a spiritual war, and a spiritual war, when you engage in and you're on the side of God, sooner or later you'll win. You'll win that person. But if for a reason God doesn't act on your side, I'm just now saying, but I'm sure that if you fight it spiritually, you will definitely win. In fact, I read Malachi 2:16, God says, I hate divorce. So if you happen to be married to a narcissist, God has allowed it and he doesn't want a divorce. And if he allowed it and you cooperate with him, he will solve that problem. Or he will give you wisdom and strength to resist that person. Otherwise, I know that people would like to separate. The Bible has given reasons why divorce can be justified: infidelity and desertion. But violence, unfortunately, the Bible has kept quiet. But the church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, advises that if there is violence, separate, not divorce, separate. As efforts are being made to solve the problem that caused the separation. When the problem has been sorted out in whichever way, God has a way of sorting out problems. Ellen White has warned that if you are abusing your spouse, sometimes God causes you to die because you want to cause your spouse to go to hell. God is not just sitting there seeing somebody abusing the other one and it's quiet. God does something. And if you just believe in Him, He will handle that problem. So if you separate, you can separate as long as the problem persists, but you should separate with a view of reconciling. But if he marries or she marries while you have separated, then that has absolved you from the marriage covenant. You can be free to remarry. I know that you'll want to pray for that, but if you pray that he remarries or that because amekusinya, God will be unhappy with you. Don't think that wherever you will go, you'll be successful. So it's just the question of doing what is right, what the will of God is. I think I have addressed that. I mentioned that there are video. There's a YouTube channel by Pastor Hannah Jerry. She had she was abused by a narcissist in her childhood, and therefore she took long to heal. Even after doing a master's of theology, she was still suffering from that, but she was healed. I know that she has written books, but she presents a lot of things on narcissism on a YouTube channel, Hannah Jerry. You can follow her up. I was listening to her. I've talked. In fact, I wanted her to come and answer these questions. Unfortunately, right now as we are talking, she's engaged in prayer ministry with some people, and so she could not be available. She speaks through her own personal experience. Now, today I want something light, something good. Today I want to talk about how women should be treated, wives, spouses. And it's a good lesson for unmarried so that it may help you to prepare how you'll be treating your wife. It's always good to enter into marriage when you are informed rather than going through a trial and error experience. Today, the best way to treat your wife. Tomorrow, the best way to treat your husband. So today, husbands, please be around. Listen to what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what we call A to Z of how you should treat your wife, how you should handle your wife. And I want to begin by reading a very tough, I want to say tough scripture. I hope kids are not, or people who are below 18 are not. This is not for under 18. So if you know you are sitting with your under 18, mwambie atoke aende kulala ama aende kuwatch TV huko. This is for 18 and above. Proverbs chapter 5. I'm talking to men in the listening of women. Proverbs chapter 5 verse 15 to 19. Proverbs chapter 5 verse 15 to 19, it is addressing men. Drink water from your own cistern and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be only your own and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth. As a loving deer and a graceful doe, let her breasts satisfy you at all times and always be enraptured with her love. The first A is attention. The first A is attention. Let me push my laptop here. Yes, is attention. Phone calls, text messages, and using her picture as your display picture on any of your social media platforms will tell any woman, I love you. Which picture is on your phone? Do you have the picture of your wife in your office? Do you have the picture of your wife in your car? Do you have a picture of your wife in your coat pocket? Uh, don't be like a principal who walked with the wife's picture in his pocket. Principal Msamali gave us that story, that there was a principal who used to walk with a picture of his wife in his pocket. Every time he faced difficult circumstances, he would remove the picture of his wife, look at it. Then when he returns it in the pocket, he has found a solution to solve the problem. He used to say, if I'm able to manage this one, then there's no problem on earth that I cannot manage. I can fail, I cannot manage. But here you have your wife's picture as a picture to admire, but it speaks a lot to your wife. Every woman craves attention. She wants to be noticed. She wants you to switch off that TV and speak to her. She wants you to pay close attention to her when you ask her, what's wrong? And not take the first nothing she tells you as an actual response. She wants to know that she matters to you. Put everything away and listen to her. It is said that if your wife does not gossip to you, I don't want to say with you, if your wife does not gossip with you, then she will gossip with other women, and that's bad enough. Listen to that terrible story that she's telling you about other women, about what. Let her talk to you. Give her undivided attention. That's A. B. Be brave. The wife wants a brave husband. A story was told of a man who was attacked by robbers in his house. They ordered him to surrender his money or his life. Afraid, he thought he heard the robbers say, your money or your wife. So he pushed his wife forward, crying, take her, take her. I'm sure you don't want to be that guy. No woman wants to marry a coward. Every woman wants a man that can protect her. So be brave in the face of danger, in the place of prayer, and when handling difficult situations. Protect your wife from your mother if the need arises. And please don't cry when she goes into labor. Be a tough guy, a woman will be proud of. That's B. C. Compliment her. Sweetheart, is it just me or are you getting more beautiful? This is one of the most wonderful things you can say to your wife. Sometimes it's just you, but nothing scores you more points than a timely compliment to your wife, like, what would I ever do without you? Or, your hair looks amazing. A woman never gets tired of compliments. In case you are thinking, but I told her the food was delicious yesterday. Do I have to tell her again today? Well, you were happy yesterday. Do you want to be happy today again? That's C. D. Desire. A man who longs for something he really wants to have, like the latest game console, a small phone, or a brand new car, understands the concept of desire. When you want something desperately, you will go to any length to get it. Women need to be wanted, and they want you to show it. Your wife wants you to desire her, even though you have been married for many years. Hold her, kiss her, initiate sex. Don't always wait for her to reach out to you. Always leave your wife without a doubt that you are still attracted to her. This thing of saying that we are old, wacha utoto. Of course, some primitive women from the village, they behave like that. We have grandchildren. What are you saying? What are you doing? My friend, you don't know what you are missing. But we also have primitive men who feel that if you show your wife, if you express physical, social love, you are weak and she will know your weakness. She will sit on your head. Those are primitive, uneducated, and Christian men. Something very interesting is that when you go near a bar or a pub, you'll see men doing certain things to prostitutes, which they should be doing to their wives instead. Empathy. Empathy. Being a woman is hard enough, by the way. Women are faced with monthly periods, pregnancy, nursing babies, cranky tantrum throwing toddlers, strong willed teenagers, and eventually menopause. All of this while juggling a marriage, a job, family life, and a lot of issues. Sometimes women just want a man who notices all they do and offers some empathy. They need him to help ease the burden and ask how they feel, rub their feet, and generally show some support. Come to think of it, do you scratch your wives? I'm a good scratcher myself. You can scratch the bag where you scratch her feet, scratch her until she sleeps. Show empathy, feel for women. Don't just be concerned about your things. Try to see how this woman is tired. I'll talk more on that as we move on. This one is sensitive. Hello, bumps ahead. I said that under 18 must leave the room. Most men, there's an American saying that men are one bum. Then thank you. Once a man gets fixated on having sex, that's all that really matters to him. Women, on the other hand, are opposite, quite opposite. For them, sex begins long before the actual act. In fact, sex begins in the morning. The actual act will be there at night, but in the morning, you should prepare your wife by being good, by avoiding criticizing her, by easing her labor, by really making sure that she's comfortable and she's happy. You must study your wife. If she has had a terrible day, do not initiate sex. Postpone it to the next day. Or at least be sure that you have made her very comfortable. You can even tell her, I'm going to cook for you. Sex for women begins in the morning. Men are like gas burners, while women are like jikos. They may take a while to heat up, but once they do, it's usually worth it. Take time to touch her, tease her, kiss her slowly, and make her feel special. Let me jump that very fast. We have gone to G, generous. No woman wants a stingy man. You must be generous with your money, your time, your body. Just name it. Nothing within your power should be too much to give to your wife. Women are never tired of shopping. So spoil her as often as you can afford to. She deserves it. Go with her to the supermarket. Let her move around, picking this, picking that. She loves shopping. Don't be a man who goes to the toilet to count the money. You don't want your wife to know your money. Be generous. Even if your wife is working and she's getting a higher salary. You know, pesa za mwanaume ni sweet sana. She gets 100,000, you get 20,000, but also give her some money. Buy clothes. Women have no end to clothes. Women have no end to clothes. Buy clothes as often as possible. Even if she's buying very many, but you are also adding yours kidogo kidogo, kidogo kidogo, kidogo kidogo. Be generous. Don't be stingy to your wife. H, humor. Life is hard enough, especially if you live in this part of the world. Here in Kenya right now, hey, life is terrible. Every woman wants a man that can help her laugh through it all, as laughter makes marriage more memorable. There's a saying that a merry heart does good like medicine. That is Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22. As a husband, you may not be a comedian or even be that funny, but you must have the ability to make your wife laugh. Be the kind of man that keeps her laughing and joyful. Don't always be a serious man when you enter the house. Even if you are a soldier, a commander of the army, or you are in the police, do not be a police to your wife. Your wife is your lover. Laugh with her. If people find you with your wife, let them be surprised that, so this guy can laugh. People laugh with the ladies they work with at the places of work. They laugh with other women. It has always been said that when you see a man driving a car and a woman sitting beside him, if they are talking, they are happy, they are laughing, it is not his wife. But if the wife is facing outside the window, I mean, the woman is facing outside the window, that is probably the wife. This is very bad. Let the world do that. Let Christians do better. We are ashaming God. We are making the world know that if you are a Christian man, then it's not enjoyable. Have fun with your wife. Make her laugh. That's humor. After H is what? I. Intimacy. Intimacy. Of course, I want to tell you that generally what drives men is the need for identity. Men love identity, but women love intimacy. And generally, when you are bonding, it is a fight between identity and intimacy. So a man know that your wife loves intimacy. You know, most women are living with strangers in the name of their husbands. You eat the same food, sleep in the same bed, and live in the same house with your wife, but you are strangers to each other. Your wife wants to spend time with you. She wants to be your best friend and share your greatest fears and deepest secrets. She wants to be close to you and feel emotionally connected to you. She wants to be intimately connected to you. J is just. Every woman wants a man she can trust to be just, fair, and objective in his judgment of tough situations. Sometimes you will find yourself in difficult positions. For instance, your mother and your wife do not get along, or your sister and your wife have a misunderstanding. This scenario always comes up, and women want to be sure that you'll be fair-minded and conscientious. This is one of the most difficult things. Your mother is here, and your wife is here, and you are there. And probably your mother will call you to her house and then call your wife. Alafu anaketisha hapa, alafu anaanza kusema how your wife is a bad woman, has insulted, she's disobedient, and what have you. And then you listen to this case and discover that actually your wife is wrong. Now be very careful. You must be wise. We have always been reading that with wisdom, a house is built. If it is obvious that your wife is wise, look for an excuse or for something to excuse her mistake. Do not look straight in the face of your wife and being angry at her. Let her not lose face before your mother. Do you know what? Your wife is you. If your wife has made a mistake, you have partially made that mistake, or even totally made the mistake. So don't look at your wife as if she's the one who has made a mistake without you. Where have you been when she went to an extent of making mistakes? So know how you'll stand with that. Look for a way out. Even your mother will be angry, and then she goes away. Go and look for your mother and you tell her, this is not your daughter. You cannot expect her to behave like your children. Huyu ni mtu ambaye alitoka mbali, and I'm the only one who is close to her. It's not good for her to feel insecure. Apologize to your mother for the mistake of your wife and try to talk and tell her she will improve. Nitamsaidia polepole. Then go to your wife and tell her, actually baby, you are wrong. Na sijui hii kitu ulifanya makosa vipi. And try to be, we have already talked about empathy. Feel for your wife. Don't look like you are standing on the side of your mother. It's unspiritual to say that I can get another wife, but I cannot get another mother. God never said that you and your mother are one flesh, but he said that you and your wife are one flesh. And the truth is that you cannot get another wife. The one God has given is your wife. Any other is Satan. So your wife wants you to be just, to be fair and objective, but be empathetic to her. Try to put your mother under control. Or just tell mom, what we do is badala ya kuniongelesha na bibi yangu, wacha aende kwa nyumba, mimi niongeleshe mambo yote yake. So that mkiwa wawili you can reason with her. Unaona? Rather than your mother having to give you they call it a dress down. Anakuonya wewe mwanaume mwenye umeoa, anakupigia kelele na anakuonya na bibi yake, alafu anasema tokeni mbele yangu. Women who are here, mothers who are here, never make that mistake. The moment a wife is married, in terms of status, she's just like you. You are also a wife. So both are wives. You two are wives. It doesn't matter whether you are the mother to her husband, but she's a wife. You are a mother to her. She's a wife. So both of you are wives. Remember, I said the highest status is being a wife is the highest status. Being a mother is inferior to being a wife. A man, you must really know how to come out dealing with that matter. That's JK. Kind gestures. Everyone could do a little kindness. Sometimes not even the big things. It's the little thoughtful things that scream, I love you the loudest. Go out of your way to do things for your wife. You both go out to work and have a long day. Don't always come home and sit in front of the TV waiting for her to get home and make dinner. Sometimes surprise her and make dinner. Iron her outfit, wash her car, fill her tank, and help her with heavy loads. Even learning to use the word please would mean a lot. Do something kind for your wife. I want to add two things. If you have a car, always open the door for your wife. She enters, you lock, then you go around, start the car. When you stop living in a hurry. Take time for your wife. Be there for her. Stop the car, come out, open the door for her. She comes out and lock. All men with vehicles, do what I'm telling you. When you take your wife out, I'll also say something about it, but it has come at this point, to a hotel. When you enter a hotel, let her choose where you should sit. Do not just move straight, sit and, hey, kuja hapa. No, let her choose. Let her stand in the door surveying. Then she says to end up. Then when you reach the table, pull the chair behind, let her enter, push, let her sit. When she's comfortable, you sit. Give her the menu, let her choose. Then you order. Not your wife to order. You order the menu, but she chooses the menu. It is very, very important to treat your wife because there are bonga points that you get. You can never do, women are wonderful, you can never do a good thing to your wife and you don't get a reward. One of the greatest rewards is your wife speaks great things to your children. Your wife speaks great things to your children. One day, my cousin, when his wife died and he married another one, and the other one was giving him problems, he told me that he's elderly. I'm the age mate of his children, but he's my cousin. So he told me about his wife who died, said, that woman, I'll never forget her. So he said that one day when he came from work at night, women, I want you to know that when men come, many of them, they come slowly and they start hearing what you're discussing with the children. So he's just out. He wants to know. Of course, that's not a good thing, but many men do that. So he could come and then move around. Then he heard his wife talking with the children. The wife was telling the children that the day you will show disrespect to your father, I will go away to my parents and I will leave you to suffer. He said it touched him. It touched him very much. So, a woman, you never know what she will tell your children. You have heard of stories, maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. When the children have grown up, they just leave you. They go to America and they call their mother. She stays there for 7 years. You will die. That is K, L, leadership. Having a great leader as a husband is one of the greatest gifts any woman can have. A leader provides, protects, and presides. A good leader will nurture his wife till she's the very best she can possibly be. He will bring out the leader in her. Now, you may find your wife with a diploma or with a certificate, and you are going up to PhD. Kindly encourage your wife to come up, to come up, to come up, to come up. Assist her with her for homework. Buy her textbooks. Drive her to classes in the evening and remain in your car browsing through WhatsApp as she's waiting. I know men don't want that. Okay, enda ufanye chenye unataka, but make sure you come and collect her. If you don't have a car, you can hire a tuk-tuk for her. I mean, kwani tuk-tuk si gari? Go and support her. Make sure you support her at her place of work. Help her. When she's going for an interview, rehearse with her. Revise the question that they can likely be asked. If it's in the Ministry of Health, tell her the Minister for Health, tell her some of the questions, coach her. She's part of you. She's you. Make sure you grow your wife. Your leadership will give her confidence. She will talk positively about you at her place of work. When you go to her place of work, she will introduce, oh, come, I want to introduce you to my manager. Mr. Manager, this is my husband. Mr. Manager, this is my husband. She'll be proud to use your name. And she can use your name until people will think that's her name. Then she'll say, no, Angenda is this one. Munyovi is this one. You have always been calling me Munyovi. Yeah, Munyovi is this one. Do you know Rachel Shebesh, the first women ministry, a women what? Rep in Nairobi. Shebesh is not her name, it's the husband's name. And I would suspect that probably she was very close. M. Time ikiisha tutaendelea kesho. Money. Love is good, but money makes love so much better. People have said there is no romance without finance. It's much easier to maintain love when the house rent isn't due and children's school fees are paid. Money makes romantic gestures possible. take your wife on vacations. Buy things she wants. Spoil her. Don't spoil your daughter or your son. Just once in a while, chukua hiyo 10,000 and go and spoil her. Go out. Do you know what? Mtazeeka hivi karibuni na kukufa. And you'll be talking in half, because she can die. Si lazima ati wanaume ndio watakufa kwanza, although wanaume huwa wanakufanga mapema most of the time, but she can die and then you talk great things in her funeral, but you have never done anything for her. Tafadhali, the money you have, the number one project you should use that money on is your wife, not car, not land, not education. Education. What is education as compared to your wife? Your wife is the most important thing. Yeah, you need to know that. That is what the Bible. Do you know? I read what Adam said the other time. This she has come. This bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, because she has come from a man. I'll call her woman. Satan is the one who has brought all these things until we mistreat our wives as if they are second-class citizens. Non-sexual touch. And don't touch a woman only when you want to have sex. Women like to be touched, to be hugged, put a hand on her shoulder, hold her hands, and if you are really gunning for gold, give her a message and sleep, and let her sleep. Don't expect to be rewarded with sex that night. Trust me, you will score major points. Please let your wife. I've already mentioned that women, if you want to touch and says kwenda huko, either it could be that she doesn't really see that you mean it. You don't love her. So she feels you are playing hypocrisy because you want something. But if other aspects that I've mentioned are intact, she will really accept it and she will giggle. Open and honest communication. That's all. Too many times men tend to sieve the information they give their wives. They usually keep the challenges to themselves but share the victories. Your wife is not your babysitter. She's your partner. She can handle some of the things that you think you can. There was a time when I was a student in the university, I was married, so the student finance officer refused to register me that semester. I was very down and I'd been out of university for some time. So I went and told my wife, and you know what? She went. And when she came back, she told me, go and register. So some of the things we think women cannot handle, they can surprise you. Discuss every stage and detail of your life with her. If there's a problem, let her know so she can pray about it. Always be open with her. Let her know things exactly as they are. P, participation. Women want to be a part of the process. They want you to be involved in the things that concern them, like raising the children. Don't be an absentee husband or father. Sometimes go for parent-teacher meetings or pick up the kids from school once in a while. In fact, I say take your children to school most of the time. Take them to school, take them back from school. Do you know something? That thing will bond you with your children. Your wife has too many bonding opportunities. Now it is your time to bond with your children. Help get them ready for church on a Sabbath morning. If you have a baby, offer to do daddy duty once in a while and let your wife sleep. You can watch once your child is becoming big a bit, you can watch your child. It is a wonderful way of bonding with your child. Be a part of raising the children. Be a part of disciplining them. Women want you to be involved. Quality time, maybe that's QWXYZ. Okay. Quality time. Uh, Women want you to spend quality time with them. Shut down everything. Pay close attention to her. Do what she enjoys doing. Maybe even plan a date night once a week, a month, or a year. Send the kids to grandma and be with your wife alone. R. Romance. Romance is like the fuel in a marriage. It is not in the expensive or big things you do, but in the simple things you do in a special way. You've heard it said, if you can't do a big thing for her, do a small thing in a big way. Mm. It can be a weekend getaway after a long week or even a little gift. I want to say that every time, now if you are staying with your wife, every day when you come from work, carry a gift, even if it costs 10 shillings. Every day you come back, let your wife expect something and be creative in the way in which you give her. One day I realized that my wife loves apples. So one day I bought an apple, but I didn't tell her. So what I did, I went to the bedroom and pushed it under the duvet where she sleeps and left. And then I didn't want to be the first to go to bed. So I just moved around and she went. When I went to the bedroom, she was eating it. The rest is history. Oh, our time is gone. Security. Let me end with security. Maybe tomorrow I'll end with this because I had something to do. Let me end with security. A woman needs her husband to make her feel safe. Many often men are the cause of insecurity to women. Your wife needs to know that she can go to bed at night with the assurance that there is someone she trusts who is looking out for her. She wants to be secure spiritually, emotionally, and physically. She wants a priest, a faithful lover, a soldier, all rolled up in one. A man who will stand in the gap for her, stand faithful to her, and stand for her in times of trouble, not being the cause of her trouble. Men, I hope you are listening. I'll finish with women tomorrow before I talk about how women should treat men. I wish God would extend the time. I'm sorry, we have little time. Let's pray. Father in heaven, help us women to treat the best gift you gave us better than we can treat anything in our lives. Oh God, take care of us until tomorrow and bring us again that we may continue discussing these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Good night.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. I know the women are happy they have got a piece of advice and a lot of things have favored them.